This is your morning brief for Tuesday, February 26th. Danaher and GE struck a deal for a $21 billion deal for Biopharma business. Both shares rise. So it's GE is selling their Biopharma business, not their whole healthcare business, just what's called their Biopharma business, to Danaher. And Danaher is only paying about 6.5 times EBITDA, very fair price. Both shares were up, which is very interesting. That's typically not normal. Normally, the acquirer shares go down, the acquiree shares go up. It's no different than buying like the whole company. So it's a good deal for both sides. GE just is desperate need of cash. It's kind of sad. They're selling off a cash flow producing business, but getting $21 billion up front as opposed to the $3.2 billion that it's spinning off each year, which is nice, but they're desperately in need of bigger cash. So they got to do something. They're going to use it, pay down some debt, and do some other restructuring stuff. It's a big deal for GE. GE is a $90-something billion market cap now, and it's $21 billion sale. That's pretty big. Big deal for Danaher too. Danaher's, I think, 66 million or so. So 66 billion market cap, and buying a $21 billion business. Should check my market cap on Danaher, but it's in that neighborhood. So yeah, good deal for both sides. Danaher shares were up 8.5. GE shares are up both 6.5. So that's a good deal. Okay, Home Depot misses estimates and provided weak guidance. Earnings were up 37%. That's awesome. Posted $2.09 EPS versus $2.16 estimate. There was also a charge in there. It was unclear to me in the press release if this $2.09 included that one-time charge or not. Usually they say adjusted. This does not say adjusted. So it doesn't really make a material difference actually to me. It's a bit of a miss. It's right around where they were, or what analysts estimate, and earnings were up 37%. However, going forward, they're only expecting 3% earnings growth. So that's really the key to this whole press release. Interestingly, they do expect same-store sales to go up 5% in 2019, but only 3% earnings growth. That's unusual. So I guess more costs are coming into the business, but 5% same-store sales growth. That's pretty good. Anyways, I guess it's a mixed report. Overall, shares are down a little bit, and I think personally it's time to take a pause on Home Depot. Anyways, okay, big day on the Hill. Fed Chair Jerome Powell to testify before the Senate Banking Committee. That's no big deal. I mean, he testifies all the time, not in front of necessarily the Senate Banking Committee, but they're always giving Fed minutes, and once a month at least. There's no big deal. However, Big Pharma CEOs to testify before the Senate Finance Committee on drug pricing. That's a big deal. There's been a ton of pressure on pharma pricing, and these guys are going to sweat today. I think it's going to be a really tough session for the CEOs. Michael Cohen to testify in closed session before the Senate Intelligence Committee today. Tomorrow in an open session before I might get this wrong, but it's on the House side. I think it's I'm not sure which committee, but it's an open session, so we'll be able to, he's going to open up his criticism of Donald Trump, and it'll be for everyone to see. Now, the Russia topic is off the table, so they're talking about a lot of Trump's businesses, his taxes, the payments to Stormy Daniels, all that stuff, but no Russia stuff. I don't know why that's not being discussed, but that's what the deal is. Okay, we have new reports out on Danaher, Verizon, and MOMO out today. And last but not least, the futures are futures and overseas markets are down. You know, all the headlines said on pessimism over the trade deal, which I think is just a little bit of BS, to be honest with you. I mean, the trade talks haven't changed a bit, and you know, yeah, futures open up and down. You know, just like a stock market, it's no different. You know, it could just be time for a pause more than. I'm just not buying that argument. I don't think anything has really changed in terms of trade talks. So it was just due for a pullback. I do think it was kind of funny to watch Trump bungle over terminology. The language they use for official documents in trade, it's a memorandum of understanding. Okay, now, and that's the official binding document. Trade document it's always just called a memorandum of understanding. And Trump had to have none of it. He said, "Oh no, well, you know what? Let's not waste our time with a memorandum of understanding. Let's get straight to the deal." And it's like, this is the deal. It's just the label that he was unfamiliar with. You know, I guess in some industries, maybe the real estate industry, a memorandum of understanding is just, you know, putting together some documentation so, you know, people can get on the same page and go, yeah, this is what we're talking about. And he just wants to skip that step. But it's just funny that he's not versed in the fact that a memorandum of understanding in trade is the final agreement. And it was just an hilarious exchange on live TV with his own trade negotiator and in front of China, and everyone knew that a memorandum of understanding was the final document, except for Donald Trump, and he just made an ass of himself. Anyhow, that's your morning brief for Tuesday, February 26th.